And welcome to our webinar. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to get logged on and ready to listen to this webinar as we talk about new payroll tools. But before we do any of that, we're going to talk about GPUC 2021. And GPUC is our user conference that's coming up here in November. And you can do it virtually, so right at your desk where you're sitting at right now, or you can come to sunny Fargo campus, right? And check out. And so we have sessions geared to GP as well as to Key to Act. And so there's more information out on our website, so please check it out. We really want to make sure people are aware of what's going on and have a huge event and lots of learning going on those 5 days. So we'll give people a few more minutes in case, if you got time, check out the website. I guess I do have a couple minutes after 1. Are we ready to go, Sandy?
Yeah, ready when you are.
All right. Well, let's.
The next slide.
I'm assuming we started. Are we starting the recording, organizer?
Yes, we have.
Okay, got that in there. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let's go to the next slide, and I'll start there. All right, welcome everyone to our webinar about our 2 new payroll solutions, 2 new wsTOOLS that we're introducing today. Hot off the press, we just finished setting them up, finished one up and just finishing the install stuff on the other one. And so we're excited to get these rolled out to you. This is Cheryl Simmons speaking, the Vice President here at IS and who focuses on tools as one of my areas, as well as Sandy is going to be talking and driving our demo today as well. And so she gets all the hard questions though, just so everybody knows. Right?
Nope.
So speaking of questions, if you have questions, there is a question panel or a chat panel in your GoToMeeting that you can go ahead, type comments in there, and I'm gonna make mine a little bigger here so I can make sure I see if somebody types in a comment in the chat or the questions. And I'll be watching for those as Sandy's doing her demo. So please enter those in and we'll get those answered here for you as well. And as an attendee, you are muted. So if you try to talk to us, we're not gonna hear you, just have to tell you. so definitely use those chat and question panels and we'll get the questions answered for you today. So let's dive into our 2 new payroll solutions. First one up is BenDed Max Plus or Benefit Deduction Maximum Plus. This really deals with, inside of Great Plains, you can set up benefits, as well as you can have a group of benefits that reaches a maximum. And the same of you can do benefits and deductions, either or can have a maximum set up on them. But you can't do the 2 of them together. And that was a huge request of our customers saying, I have like health savings accounts where we contribute as an employer, as well as the employee is contributing, but there are limits that we have to, legally go by, right? So they want to make sure that those pay runs don't take out too much, combining those 2 together, right? The benefit and deduction together. And so it works just like the GP functionality does. That was brought in 2018, I think R3, if I remember right. So that's on right.
R2? I think it's R2.
Yep, because R2, that's right. And so making sure that you're on R2 or greater in order to see the GP functionality. And then we have built our benefit and deduction shared limit together on 2018 as well. So, and Sandy's going to demo, kind of walk through that as well. But again, just very fun functionality, helps make it easier where you don't have to try to put a limit on the benefit and the deduction separately and try to manage those as you go through your pay runs. Where here you're combining them together in the screen, choosing benefits and deductions, and it could be multiples of each of those, and then putting in that calendar year max. And you'll see this in action here in a few minutes. All right, so that's that one. And we kind of joke about the name being BenDed Max, but yeah, benefit deduction maximum plus. Over to the next one, Sandy. All right, our next one is the Pay Import Plus. And this really gets into, for those of you that need to do raises, that, once a year or however often you need to do them. And instead of pulling up your payroll person, pulling up every pay code record, typing in the new hourly rate or salary, whatever it is, and then, going to the next one for vacation and putting in that, upping that rate, this will help solve all those problems. And really, it does a couple things for you. It allows you to take the data out of GP and bring it into Excel, which we all love Excel, so that you can see the data and you can slice and dice it by division, by manager, however you need to get the data out and get it to the right people so that they can make those decisions and get in those new rates into the spreadsheet. Because once the new rates are in the spreadsheet, then you can easily bring it right back into GP and update your pay codes. And again, you can even do the dependent pay codes can automatically be updated for you. Lots of options. And we'll see that in action too. If you want to go to the next slide, Sandy, kind of shows what the screens look like. So the first on top here, the pay rate export. Like we said, we're going to export the data out first, and you can choose lots of options there of which data you want to bring out. And then on the bottom is where we're actually bringing in the data, and it'll display on the bottom portion of the window. And you can pick and choose here. You could even still, oh, I see we have the wrong salary put in for like Nancy Buchanan on here. And so instead of 20,000, it really should have been 22,000. You can actually override it on this window here before you do the import and update your pay record. So very, very cool. And again, lots of options, which we'll talk about as Sandy goes through the demo. So at this point, Sandy, I don't see anything in the chat in questions right now.
Okay.
So I will let you switch over to GP and let's see them in action.
Okay, very cool. Well, I am going to start with the Benefit Deduction Max Plus, and excuse me. So here is the window for that. And as Cheryl said, it allows you to include both benefits and deductions in the same group with a calendar year maximum for that group. So as you can see, this one has an HSA deduction and an HSA benefit. And I know the actual calendar year max for an individual for 2021 is 3,600, but I got lazy and tired of doing pay runs. So I just set it to 2,575 so that we can see hitting the max. So we'll look at that in a moment to see what happens when we go over the max. And then I wanted to point out that this maximum is applied to all employees assigned to any of the benefits or deductions in that group. Okay, so we'll keep this here. And then I wanted to just take a look for one employee at this so we can see, how it's working. So I'm going to pick on Pilar. And so I've got her benefit and deduction maintenance. And so I have it set up for the benefit that she gets $50 a month or a pay period into her HSA, and then her on the deduction side, she's getting $250 deducted every check. And if we look at the summary here, we can see on the benefit side, she's received a total of $350. And then on the deduction side, she's put in a total of $1,950. So that totals $2,300. And since we're at $2,575, that leaves us $275 to go. So we'll be short here by $25. So it's going to have to take a look there and limit that. So
Sandy, that was a lot of numbers. Let me just make sure I got that.
Yeah.
So we're saying that, okay, so far she's taken out where she's only got 275, I think, left, even though normally she would have
Correct.
300 taken out altogether, right, with the benefit and deduction?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the case.
So she's going to hit max in this next pay run, is what you're saying.
Right. And the pay runs you just do as normal. And then the logic here on this shared maximum will come into play when you get to the max. So we'll go ahead and build checks, and I've got my batch ready. I'm going to build. I think I've got 2 people in this batch, but we'll just pay attention to that first one that we were looking at with Pilar. So you can see here again, the 50, this is what it is going to try to do, the $50 benefit and $250 deduction. And then now let's calculate checks and we'll see what it actually does. And
So
remember, we've got to
build checks
go
brings
ahead.
them, build checks brings them both in, but calculates when it's really going to go take a look at that logic and see how much can I really take for a deduction and take for the benefit.
You got it. And so here now we see that the entire $250 deduction is coming out, but instead of $50 on the benefit, it's only 25 because she hit that maximum.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
And one thing
So
I didn't point out earlier, Sandy, is there actually is logic in the GP help that takes you through how it's structuring that when it's trying to hit your maximums for both deductions, benefits, and as a group. Because like TSAs come first, you know, those type of things, tax sheltered annuities. So again, there's a good information in the GP help documentation that helps describe in what order it will do these in. So in case people are looking for that.
cool. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Benefit Deduction Max Plus. Now we're going to look at the Pay Import Plus. And this is the export window where we can export the compensation data from GP into Excel. And then depending on, I guess that's on the import window, never mind. So when we come into this window, there's no filters selected and all of the pay codes are selected. And, you know, we can change that to whatever we want here, you know, like specific departments or, you know, particular pay codes. And then, oops, I'm not clicking right in the right spot. There we go. And so then we could export that. But if we decide, you know, I didn't get this how I wanted, you can just hit clear and it'll go back to everything selected. And so, you know, then of course, if you did that, you'd get all employees, all pay codes. Just to make it a little simpler for today, I'm going to just do one department. So I'm going to pick support services so that we don't have so much to look at. And then when it comes to the pay codes, you can pick if you want to do all of them, or when you do the import, you have the option for, you know, like for example, holiday is dependent on hour or salary usually, and the same with like, you know, overtime, sick, vacation. So you can have those rolled down to the ones that they're dependent upon. Did I say that right? So
Yeah.
salary could roll down, yeah.
Base.
So you can pick if you want to do that or not. So I'm gonna show you that roll down. So I'm not gonna pick the ones that are dependent on another one. So I'm gonna skip over holiday. I don't think I have, oops, I don't want overtime. I don't think I have anyone that's piece rate, but I'll pick that one. And then I'll get the salary, but I'm not gonna do the sick or vacation. So
And
then when we,
at this point,
huh?
Sandy, you're just picking which ones do I want to take out to my spreadsheet, right? At
Right,
this point.
that's exactly right. Yep. And so then once I have it how I want, then I can click export to Excel. And it's pretty slick because it's super quick. And then as soon as I click OK saying the export's complete, then Excel opens for me. And these are just those employees in that department and the pay codes I selected. One thing to note is if you have employees or employee pay codes that are inactive, those are not exported.
Good to note. Okay.
Yeah. And so then when we come over here, we've got their existing pay rate, and right now it has the new pay rate is the same. So we could individually, you know, type those in, or I could be, I'll just do a formula to make it easy. So let's say equals M2 times 1.05. And then I'll just drag that down to the other ones. And so then we've got our new amounts that we can then import back in. But
So
I want to show you one. Oh, go ahead.
you're saying you could type them in or do a calculation depending on
That's correct.
how your
Yep.
company raises. Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yep. And then just to show you some error checking, I'm going to just switch one of these to 0 so we can see what happens when we import it that way. And so then once we have this done, I'm just going to save this now. Well, let's see. I got to go to my folder where I'll put it in here, and then I'll just so that it's right on top, I'll call it there we go. So I've got that saved, and so I'm going to close that, and we're done now with the export window. And so now I'll bring up the import window, and then I can just look up and select that one that we just saved, which is here. And this spreadsheet contains only one sheet. If it contained multiple, I would have been, so since it's just one, it's selected automatically for us. If the spreadsheet had contained multiple sheets, we could select which ones we want to import, and then it just does them kind of one after the other, everything in sheet 1 followed by sheet 2 if you did that. But we just have this one,
And
so I'm just
come in handy, right, if Sandy, if like every department had its own sheet, as an example, right?
exactly right. Yeah, let's say I'm the HR manager and I sent sheets out to each department and they sent them back to me, and I have a spreadsheet now with a tab or a sheet for each department. Yep,
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
do it that way if you want, instead of having it all in one.
Mhm.
And so now I'm just going to import from Excel. That's not going to update any payroll data yet. It's just going to bring it here into our grid. Okay, and it says imports complete. And then here you notice where it gives me a warning here where this value is 0. And I could push it into GP that way, but I also could just go ahead and fix it. Let's say she's gonna get 25,000. And then I can reevaluate, and that message should go away now. So you can update things right here if you see that something's not correct. And you can delete rows too. I can right click and delete row, or I can, select however many and click my delete button. I'm not going to do that though. And then you can sort. I guess that one, they're all the same, but here you can sort on any column here, ascending and descending. So that's kind of handy. And let's see. So I talked about the roll down. You can decide here, this field, roll down rate changes to all pay codes based on the imported pay code. And since I didn't include in my export pay codes like holiday and overtime, I want to roll these changes down to those. So I'm going to select that here. But you have the option too to just export everything and update them individually if you wanted, and then not roll changes down. Effective date populated for me. Here I'm going to put we'll put that in the change reason. And then once we're all ready, we can do update pay records. If we don't really want to do it, I could hit the clear button. But I think oh wait, and here first, before we do that, let me show you here. So Pilar's salary right now is 24,500, and we're going to be updating it to 25/7/25, and the same with other ones based on it, like holiday, sick and vacation. We should see those all get updated to this 25/7/25, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click update pay records, and then it tells me that's complete. And so now let's bring this up and hit redisplay. And okay, so now we're at 25/7/25 since it got updated for us. Yeah, so ta-da! That's how the Payroll Import Plus works. So we've seen both of the tools. And is there any questions, Cheryl, or do we want to go back to the slide deck?
Yeah, if you just want to take us back to the slide deck, that'd be great. I'll have a couple
Okay.
extra things. So one thing I know payroll raises, you know, there's sometimes not a lot of time to get those numbers in, right? Because you have payroll that runs, let's say Wednesday, and it's, you know, going to be in everybody's hands by Friday. Well, by that next Wednesday when you're running payroll, you got to have those pay increases in, right? So not a lot of time. And so having the ability to export the data out and get it out to your managers or whoever makes those decisions for the raises, right? Get them into spreadsheets. So as soon as you finish a pay run, you're ready to go, right? You can get that data brought into our pay import window, review it, take a look at it, make sure it's all good to go. And then, you know, click that update pay records and it's done in minutes. And again, depending on your volume, you know, it's in there, you know, cranking away, updating all those records automatically for you versus having to manually enter them, you know, before that next pay run. So very useful tool. And again, you could use it just to plain export the data out if that's what you need to do, and give it to your managers and not use the import feature, you know, every time you export. You know, that you really drive when you do that. And we do have some specific columns it's looking for, right? Like the new rate column, we're looking for that specifically when we try to bring the data in. But if you needed to add more columns to the spreadsheet, you could do those type of things. So
yeah, and we wouldn't want to delete columns, but if you don't use them, like for example, division, you could just hide it.
right, yep, because we need that data to know if we have the right employee.
Yeah.
So, you got it. All right, well, it looks like we're good on questions and everything here. Sandy, thank you again for showing those tools. And again, I think they're very fun to see in action.
Yeah.
Couple other tools we just wanted to hit on real quick is, because we showed the new ones, but there are other ones for payroll and we just wanted to highlight. We have also a payroll rewind tool, which gives you the ability to, once you've run your pay run and you're like, oh, I have a mistake, you can actually rewind for an employee, make the changes, you know, say, yes, I have not sent it to the bank yet, my ACH file, make the changes, and then continue to process and get all of that done. Pay correct, and so let's say you went through the payroll process and you found out that, oh, I used the wrong pay record. And what you have to do is back out that pay record, put it against a new pay record. Pay correct will help you do that with those negative transactions. And then payroll handoff. Now this one comes into play if you have, let's say, a separation of duties and have those that build and process your checks as one group or one person, and then the person who actually is printing the checks is another person. And again, it allows that separation of duties so that the same person isn't creating all the payroll data and actually printing and sending the data to the bank. So those tools are also available. We just, again, wanted to highlight the other payroll tools and make sure everybody's aware of those. And if you want to see any of these in more detail, please just reach out to us at sales@iscorp.biz. I think that's on the next slide. Oh, there's our services.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, we would love to do demos for you, talk more specific on how they could increase the efficiencies at your company. And again, here's our contact information, and we would love to be able to show and demo any one of these to you. So that is it for today. Thank you again for joining us for our webinar. We are very excited to get these 2 new payroll solutions out there for everyone. And I appreciate you spending the time with us today. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.